Now I'm going to talk about access modifiers in C Sharp. Sounds a little complicated, but I'm going to break it down so it's very simple and you're going to understand everything to do with access modifiers in C Sharp. So what is an access modifier? Now before we talked about the kind of job a class would have, it sort of models a real world object. In this example here, I have a video game class. And when I create a new video game, for example, it wants the video game name, its publisher, and a rating for the game. So you can see a class here represents a video game object. It's like a real world object. And when we create classes, we want everything inside the class, for example, this video game class here, to just be about the video game. So we don't want to talk about anything else other than the video game in here. Maybe like what food we're eating while we play the video game, or maybe some information about the user playing the game, because maybe that user information could be in a user class, or maybe the food the user is eating while playing the video game would be in a food class. So this is quite important with OO programming. You keep the classes what is called highly cohesive, and that just means everything inside the video game class is directly to do with a video game. That's the general principle anyway. And this not only benefits code organization, but it allows different people to work on this project, for example, maybe 100 people. So you can delegate 1 or 2 people to work on, say, this class, while another person might focus on this kind of main class right here. So it has multiple benefits. But how does that tie into access modifiers and things like that? Well, consider this example here. So what I'm doing, I'm constructing 4 video game objects here. I'm putting in some sample data. So what is happening behind the scenes here when I'm constructing these 4 objects? I'm just setting up some variables here, the name, the publisher, and the rating. So you can see the parameters are coming into the constructor, and I'm just setting the values. However, secretly inside this class, what I'm doing is generating a new unique ID for each object we're creating. So what's happening here is I have a method here, and it's just setting this variable up here to a unique ID. You don't need to worry about what this does, but what it does, it generates a unique ID, which is unique, and there should never be a duplicate. So this is an inbuilt function you can use in order to do that. And it's just setting this variable here to a unique ID. So if we create a game here using this constructor, it will always have a unique ID. But from this part of the program here, we have no idea this is happening. We're just passing in 3 values. We didn't even know it had a unique ID. We have no idea what's going on behind the scenes. And that's the beauty of object orientated programming. We don't need to know, and we don't need to care. But what if, for example, I've just created this object here called game1, and when I go in here, I can, re-edit the publisher. I can change it to a different value. Now I've constructed it. So let's say, for example, World of Warcraft have been, Blizzard have been taken over by Riot Games. Then I might want to modify the publisher to Riot Games later in the software, for example. And I can do that no problem. However, what if someone can accidentally change this ID value here? So what I'm going to do is go out here, game1, and you can see this ID field here. I could change this to whatever I like. And the thing is, I don't want anyone to change this ID field. It's already kind of unique. I don't want anyone, any other team member modifying this value. It could corrupt the data because the ID is unique, and anyone could just change this ID value to ham sandwich, for example. That could have lots of adverse effects. 1, it could break the software. 2, it could cause, information loss. It could have many bad effects to the software. So what I want to do, I want to keep this ID kind of private to the class. I only want the class itself to know about this ID and manage the ID internally to this class. I don't want anyone else in the software modifying any other classes or any other parts of the software to touch this ID. Maybe they can just like look at it, but I don't want them to edit it, for example. And this is where access modifiers come in handy. Now, access modifiers enforce what's called encapsulation. It's to make sure sensitive data, like ID in this case, is hidden away from users or people or even other pieces of software that should never have access to it. And that is an example of encapsulation and why encapsulation is important when generating object-oriented programs. So let's take a look how we can restrict access to certain variables or even methods using access modifiers. So let's go into our class and let's talk about various access modifiers we can have in C#. Now the first one is what's called public. So you can see here public. That just means anything defined as public. You could have a variable, for instance, or you can even have a method, for example, this one down here. If I make this public, and that means when we create an object of this class, we can access it from outside of the class. We can access it from anywhere in our project, anywhere in our solution. So I've typed in game1, then a little dot there, and now we can access ID. We can access the generate new ID method here. So that's because these are public and we can access them from anywhere. Now the other one is what's called internal. We can have internal variables here. We can have internal constructors. We can have internal methods. And the difference between public and internal is only accessible within the current assembly or project. What does that mean? Well, come across here. So far, we've been working with one project so far. Now, what we can do, we can have another project in our solution. We could have 50 projects, for example. So what that means in our project here, our default project, only the classes inside the project can access internal things. If we're in another project, maybe this project represents the database, like the data layer, or maybe the front end where all the kind of maybe graphical things are, then they can't access internal things because it's only internal to the current project. We'll be talking more about multiple projects later, but that's basically what the internal keyword is. Another access modifier is what's called protected. Now we'll be talking about protected later on, so don't worry about that one for now. And the last one I want to talk about is private. Now private is very important for the example I've just given with regards to accessing the ID from outside of this class. What private does, it enforces local variables like this one, or even methods like this one, can only be accessible from within inside the current class. So what I've done, I've changed this ID to private, and I've changed this method to also private. So if I go back to my main program here and put a dot after this object, you can see that the ID property, the ID variable, is missing from this list. You'll also notice that the method to generate a new ID is also missing from this list. So you can see what is happening here. It's enforcing encapsulation. It's hiding sensitive information because we only want the video game class to be able to kind of generate new IDs and, control the ID for the video game. Nobody else in this whole, piece of software needs to know about IDs. It's unique to video game and it should stay unique to the video game. So therefore these fields should be made private because only video game needs to know about this. It's private information, so consider it like that, for example. However, name is public. Publisher is public. Let's make rating internal. So as long as I'm working inside the same project, I should be able to access name, publisher, and rating, which I can do right here, name, rating, and publisher. So right now ID is private. If I try to use that anyway, for example, put some information inside ID there, you can see I have an error here. And if I hover over that, it says videogame.id is inaccessible due to its protection level. That's because it's private. We can't actually access this information. If we try and run the software and compile it, it's not even going to let us. So you can see this is how strict it's enforced. As soon as I change this ID to public or internal, then the red line is going to go away. The protection has disappeared. We can run the program as normal. So this is the power of access modifiers in C#. It enforces what's called encapsulation, and it protects our sensitive data from either other pieces of software, other segments of the existing software, and even users working on different parts of the software as well. So it enforces data integrity and, prevents a lot of adverse issues that can happen because of this. So these are access modifiers in C# and why they're very useful when creating classes and objects. Lastly, I want to talk about what can have access modifiers. Here we have a method that has an access modifier. We have a couple of constructors here that have access modifiers, and also some local variables up here that also have access modifiers here. But you'll notice that the class that contains all of these elements also has an access modifier. Now, public is the weakest access modifier. If something is made public, then anyone anywhere in the whole solution can access this item. However, the class itself is marked as internal, and that means only classes inside the existing project or assembly can access this class. So by default, this stronger access modifier overrides anything weaker. So internal will override all these public access modifiers here. And that is because the surrounding class is marked as internal. So by default, the access for these will all be internal if they're public. So it will look something like that. Even if they're marked as public, this is how they will be accessed. However, if I mark the class as public, then it's no problem because this is the weakest access modifier, so these will all be public. If you've ever worked with file and folder permissions for operating systems and various settings can kind of override the subfolders, it works very similarly to that. So to clarify, if I was able to mark this class as private, then by default everything inside it will be private regardless of the access modifier. So that's the point I'm trying to get across. Now writing access modifiers in C# is optional. So if I remove the access modifier from the class, then by default classes are all internal. So I could write this, and this would be exactly the same as doing this. So it's optional, but it's assumed internal by default. However, anything inside the class, methods, constructors, properties, or variables, by default, these are all private. So unless explicitly marked as public or internal, then it's assumed they're private. So writing this would be exactly the same as writing this. So in this case, private is optional. So we could remove the private access modifier from the method and the variable up here, and it will have exactly the same effect, because by default anything inside the class is assumed private if there's no access modifier.